farms to cut trees.
Uh-huh. So your paycheck, what came out of your paycheck? What kind of things did you use your paycheck for?
Well, we usually to buy clothes. And back in those days, there was a little store over there, and up overhead they sold beer, which was, back in those days, was 2, 3. We'd have a bottle of beer and play cards.
Uh-huh. Were you a good card player?
Well, we used to play a lot of cards back then.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Did you save money? Did you have a savings account, you think, or not?
I saved a little money.
You did? Yeah, okay. But no checking account or anything like that back then? Okay. Okay, let's see here. Now, we're into, we got about, to turn over here. Let me just, let's see, what else? So in that job that you had, there were no fringe benefits, like no hospital coverage,
or
nothing at all. It was just your $14, and but nothing was taken out of that $14.
No.
Did you have back then? You didn't have to send in a tax
no, we didn't have
time
to
or
pay
anything like that.
tax
So that $14 was yours.
Yes.
Once you got done. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now we're going into the courtship. Do you remember the very first time that you saw your wife?
Now, you mean in school or
Yeah,
afterward?
the very first time.
Well, I'd never seen her in school, and that's all there was to it.
Okay. You knew who she was.
I knew who she was,
Uh-huh.
and that was it.
It wasn't one of those cases where you said, I'm going to marry this woman or anything.
No.
When was the first time that you realized that you wanted to spend the rest of your life with her?
Well, I went over to Fletcher to a dance at the community house, and I always went to the dances alone. Either Clarence Coleman or somebody would go with me. And we was dancing downstairs there. And danced with 2, 3 different women. I see her standing over on the side there, so I went over and asked her to dance. And then I danced with other people, and she was standing in another place. Nobody dancing with us, so I asked her to dance. And while we were dancing, I asked her if I could see her again sometimes, and she says yes. So,
Well, that was good.
from then on, it was...
That was...
I used to go to, well, she'd get a ride up to Essex Junction for my work. I'd go down and pick her up to Essex Junction.
Where was she working then?
Wells and Richardson, there in Burlington.
Okay.
And then Sunday night, I'd take her back to Burlington.
I'm going to just stop for a minute here and turn this over. We're doing good. I think we're doing real good here.
I got to get a drink.
You want to get a drink? Okay, we'll stop for a bit. Oh. I think you're doing really good. It isn't bad, is it?
Talking too much.
Oh, no. Here we go. Okay. All right. Let me see. Okay. We've done everything. I've mentioned when you first met your wife and everything, but I guess I didn't even put down what her name was.
Lorraine Harriet Dodge.
Okay. How old were you when you got married?
I was 22.
Okay.
We were both 20.
Okay.
22.
And what year did you get married?
January 19th, 1935.
Okay.
We were married in Burlington.
How long were you engaged for a while before you got married, or?
A short time.
A short time.
But I went with her for several months.
You gave her a ring and did everything the proper way. What was your wedding like? Did you have a big wedding or small or what?
Not in those days, because I went to the minister's house there in the morning, talked to him, and then after she got on work, she went home, changed her clothes and things. We went up. We didn't have anybody to stand up with us, but the minister got his wife in, and she stood up with us.
Mhm.
Because back those days, you didn't see many big weddings.
Okay. Okay. Do you remember the minister that performed the ceremony?
The Reverend Stanley Jones,
From
Burlington, from the
Bur-
First Congregational Church.
Okay, from Burlington.
He was minister there for many, many years.
Okay.
And I used to meet him at Scottish Rite meetings when I went to those.
Okay. Did you go on a honeymoon?
Not that year,
Okay.
but the next year we took time off and went to Niagara Falls on a honeymoon.
Okay. And where was your first home? Where did you live after you got married?
Well, we stayed with Lorraine's folks until November. I think it was the 13th, the 14th, maybe the 17th of November that we moved to Mrs. LaBelle's house down at Cambridge, the little house next to the Legion Hall.
Okay. Do you remember how much you had to pay for rent there?
We paid $12 a month for rent, and we'd get a loaf of bread at 8 cents. Our quart of milk was 10 cents.
Imagine. Now, did Lorraine work also? Did she continue to work after you got married? Yeah. In Burlington still?
In Burlington for a while, and then she come back in McGovern. She worked at McGovern's.
Okay. And where were you working at that time?
I was working for T.J. McGovern's
You
store,
were
driving
also.
truck.
Okay, so you both were working there. Okay.
That was the hardest work because every time you lifted, you had 100 pounds.
Uh-huh.
And week after week, we worked from 60 to 90 hours a week. We got $14.
You're kidding. No matter how, I mean, that was it. There wasn't any
Back in those times, you had several people that was willing to take your job if you wanted to give it up.
So there wasn't any such thing as overtime or anything
no
as far as
overtime
getting
or
paid for it. For heaven's sake. Now Lorraine was a bookkeeper
Yes.
there. Was she a bookkeeper there?
Yes.
Okay. You told me one time, and I want you to do it again, about the couples that used to go to the dance in Sheldon.
Oh.
You told me that once.
Oh, there was Dick and Audrey Hanley, Homer and Garnet Westman, Walt Sweeney and Edna. And we were from Cambridge. Then you'd have the bunch from Jeff of Dr. Chafee and his wife, Elson Wells, Ray Williamson and his wife. We used to be 8, 10 couple of us go to Sheldon. We always had a great time.
Now that was a weekly dance? Did they have, or was that?
No, I forgot just how often they did have them over there, but we had a lot of fun going over there, all of us.
Uh-huh. What other things did you do? Did you get together at each other's houses for things, or?
Oh yes, for a couple of us, and when we lived there in Cambridge, we'd go to somebody's house maybe once a week on the weekend and have a feed and play cards.
Now you said Dick and Audrey Hanley.
Yes.
Were they living in Cambridge at that time too?
Oh yes, they were married the Thursday before we were married on a Friday.
Okay.
And he was the barber, and he lived the second house in as you went into Cambridge on the right there. Horace Cutler had his.
Okay. Okay.
And they bought the little house up just beyond Willie Brothers' store.
Did he have the barber shop there too?
Oh yeah, he
had the barber shop right there. Now, Sweeney's. I mean, were all these all of you had all been married about the same time? Were you?
No, Walt Sweeney was married several years before the rest of us, but he was just as young as the rest of us.
Yeah, yeah.
And they had a lot of fun with us.
Now, did you remember in your early marriage and everything? Was it hard at the time to budget your money? I mean, did you, or what? Or were things fairly easy?
Well, you had to watch your money.
Okay. Didn't have electric light bills, of course, or anything
Oh yeah,
like
our electric light bill I think, was $1 a month.
Okay. Okay.
A telephone was, I don't remember the telephone, but it wasn't very much for the telephone back in those days.
Uh-huh. So actually, you couldn't overspend, but you managed okay. As
Oh,
far
yes,
as-
we managed. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And what year? And you and Lorraine were married for how many years?
64 years and 4 months, right to the date.
Okay. She died
On the 18th of August, 1999.
Okay. 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 How many children did you have?
All we had is just one girl because we didn't have time to have the others.
Okay. And what was your firstborn's name?
Mary Diane Wells.
Okay. And how old were you and Lorraine when she was born? When Mary was born?
Let's see,
In
she
your
was
20s?
born in 46.
So
we
you were
were
in your
married
early-
35.
Okay.
We'd been married 10 years.
Before you had any children?
Yeah.
Okay. How did you pick her name?
Well, my grandmother Wells was Marietta.
Okay.
And then we found out that my grandmother Thomas, her first name was Mary.
Oh.
And we talked it over and we decided that Mary should be her name.
Okay. And where was she born? At home?
No, she was born at the Mary Fletcher Hospital.
Okay. Okay. Just for the record, do you remember approximately how much it cost for that?
No, I
You
don't
don't?
remember, but I know it wasn't very much.
Not compared to today. Do you have any favorite stories about Mary growing up?
Well, when she was young, she used to like get the best lumber that I had, and she'd cut it up, and she'd drive more nails into it. And oh boy,
She was building something or what?
she was trying to build birdhouses. Oh,
What would you say would be the biggest difference in her growing up years and yours?
oh boy, that is something. But you know, when she was growing up, that she had her tricycle, and she was on this side of the street. Bruce McCowan lived on the other side of the street, and they would pedal up and down the sidewalk, holler at each other. Now, neither one of them was supposed to go across the road, and they didn't either, because they knew what would happen.
But one was on one side and one was on the other.
Yeah, but you see, when I was growing up, we did have tricycles or things like that.
Sure.
And
Bicycles and...
so when Mary started school, that morning she went to school, she says, I'm going this morning, I'm graduating tonight.
That was a good thing. Can you remember the first time Mary brought Robert to meet you?
No, I can't remember that.
Were they friendly all through school?
They were in the same class together in high school.
Okay. So they knew each other.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. There's the old saying, birds of a feather flock together, and another old saying, opposites attract. Which of those do you think apply to Robert and Mary?
Well, that's what I asked her.
What'd she say?
She just laughed.
Oh.
She said, what do they want to know that for?
Are they a lot alike, you think, or
Yes.
not? They are.
Yes.
They are. Their values and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. How many grandchildren do you have?
I have 3 grandchildren.
Okay. Now you'll want to check your date book there.
Yeah.
And what are their names and their ages?
Diane was born March 1st, 1971 in Bitburg, Germany. That's when Robert was stationed over there in service. Jennifer was born February 6, 1974 at the Mary Fletcher Hospital. They lived in Essex Junction then. And Ravi was born April 19th, 1978. He's born in the Mary Fletcher Hospital.
Uh-huh.
And then at that time, they were living in Jericho.
Okay. And you have a great-grandchild, too, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. And is that a boy or a girl? It's a girl, right?
I got a girl.
A girl.
Great-granddaughter, Katie. She
Okay.
was born July 13th, 2000. At this time, she's 1 year and 2 months old.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to go on to what possessions that you have right now. What possessions do you have that are most important? I can think of one, but we'll see if you say the same one. Possessions that you have. That are
Well, that's my slides and all my pictures.
That's what I would say. Yeah, I would say. When did you, I think I'm later on, but when did you start getting interested in doing that? Was it because of your uncle?
No, he didn't have much to say about photography or nothing to us. I used to go down and watch him print pictures and things. But Dorothy Smith is the one that got us started on slides. So we had to go to Burlington by a camera. And we'd go with her around different Sundays all over the northern part of Vermont taking slides. And that was, the first one I took was in 1946.
Really?
That was the Mary and her Scotty dog.
Uh-huh. And it just kept going from there.
I kept it going from there on. And I had a lot of slides that's on our trip over to Germany.
Uh-huh. That was, I always enjoyed that slideshow you did over there. One thing I forgot to ask you, do you have any furniture today that was in your first house when you and Lorraine were married? Do you have anything that was...
We have our bedroom set.
Was the
She
one that you
had bought a bedroom set at Hall Furniture Company in Burlington.
And you still have it?
And we still have it.
Okay. It's, I think now, today, I think people tend to get rid of things and you know, they don't have things and all. Okay, do you remember the first automobile you saw?
The first one I had was the Plymouth Coupe.
Okay.
It came, I bought it up at Morrisville. And I remember I said so, the payments were $12 a month.
Okay.
That's something different what it is today.
I guess.
And that's what I used to go to Burlington with, get Lorraine, pick her up, bring her home, take her back.
What color was it?
Black.
Black?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when we got rid of that, we bought a Chevrolet coach. That's the two-door. Then we used to, the Holborn Garneth and Dick and Audrey, we used to go around together.
Now you said the payments were $12 a month. What was the whole payment of it? Do you remember approximately how much the thing cost to start with?
I forgot how much I did pay for that. Seems so it was $150, a little over.
Isn't that amazing?
But when I bought the Chevrolet coach, I forgot what year, but that was $489 for a new car.
That's about what some people's payments are a month on their car.
I know it.
Isn't that funny? Who was the first president of the United States that you remember?
I really remember Calvin Coolidge.
Okay. He was one of my favorite stories of that. Who would have been your favorite president, if you have one?
President Eisenhower.
Okay, and who would have been your least favorite?
I wasn't very impressed with President Truman.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but...
Okay. When you were young, growing up in Belvedere, was there a telephone? Did you have a telephone in your house?
Oh, yes, they had a telephone.
Okay, all right, okay.
What they call it, the party line.
Did you have a telephone book? Was there a...
Oh, yes.
You had a listing of the numbers, and you had a party line.
Yes.
And your numbers were long rings and short rings and...
Yes. Yeah. When we lived on the farm, we were on the party line, And then when they had the flood, we were here at the village that night, and somebody came into my grandfather's and said, if you're going home, you ought to get going because you won't get there. We went through water down here by the Lynn Tracy house, and then on the Fuller Flat, the water was way up on the running boards.
In that short time?
And we got home there,